president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding. These facts require immediate action by President Trump. Accept his share of responsibility.
That was Kevin McCarthy after the attack on the Capitol January 6th, 2021. But for McCarthy, Trump's responsibility for an insurrection is not a barrier to a second term. McCarthy told our Robert Costa he supports Trump's reelection and would serve in his cabinet if asked. Another sign of how well things are going for Trump and his party, a recent Des Moines Register poll showed he gained support in the past 2 months, giving him a 32-point lead over his closest challenger. CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett joins me now. Major, let's start with Kevin McCarthy. He has been on a journey since that attack on the Capitol on January 6th. He's in a softer place now than he was. What does his journey tell you about the party and its likely nominee?
It's not just a softer place, John. It's a rejectionist place. Kevin McCarthy said what was manifestly true in the immediate aftermath of that trauma of the invasion of the Capitol on January 6, 2021, that it was mob rioters, that former President Trump, then still president, was responsible for sending that mob to the Capitol and their destructive efforts once inside the Capitol, meant to stop, if possible, peaceful transfer of power as adjudicated by the certification of the 2020 presidential election. Everything that Kevin McCarthy said then was true. Then there was an intervening political dynamic in which those facts had to yield to a political movement, not Kevin McCarthy's political movement, former President Trump's political movement. And Kevin McCarthy has been yielding steadily to that movement and its ferocity ever since, which brings us to where he is now. Not only a willing but eager endorser of the president's reelection and, for the first time, a spoken willingness to serve in a cabinet if so asked. That's the journey. The prism is politics, not the facts.
And just to put a finer point on what you're saying, Major, the subsequent information that has come out, when Kevin McCarthy said those words, he knew less about the former president's actions with respect to trying to overthrow a free and fair election, one of his obligations as a president, during that 2-month period between the election and January 6th. So he has a net increase of knowledge that underlines what he said back on January 13th, and yet he's taken this different position.
Because of politics. It is not possible for anyone who once held Republican leadership positions or who for a time, as Kevin McCarthy did, aspired to those leadership positions to not yield to the Trump political movement, except for where we are right now. Meaning, what I'm saying about this movement and its ferocity and its strength and its potency is true now. It's been true since January 6th. And we should remind ourselves of what then President Trump said to Kevin McCarthy when he was calling him on January 6th, pleading with him to do something to stop the riot. Well, Kevin, those people must be more upset about the election than you. Trump has always understood his movement is a tool, a point of leverage, and Kevin McCarthy's journey is proof of that.
And that tool and that point of leverage is doing well for him in Des Moines. You can tell us why we should care about the Des Moines Register poll above all other polls, given its track record. But if there was a state where the old style, old theory of politics was, which if you hustled on the ground, Ron DeSantis has been to all 99 counties. Nikki Haley has won an endorsement of the Koch brothers political arm that has a ground game. The Des Moines Register poll only shows Trump growing despite those efforts on the ground. What do you make of it?
Growing in all categories, John. Among evangelicals, solid support, growing. Young voters, growing. Older voters, growing. Wealthier, growing. Middle class, growing. Poorer, growing. College educated, growing. Should I go on? Not college educated, growing. Every indice that matters in Iowa grown since October. The consolidation of the Republican field has only shifted support, if this poll is correct, to Trump. And why do I say if the poll is correct? Because we never know if any poll is correct. And it's harder to poll with accuracy now than ever before. But the Des Moines Register poll, and Seltzer is the one who runs it, has an exceptionally high-quality historical track record. That's why it matters. And that's why it is explaining what the state of the race appears to be. Not only is Trump ahead, he has a kind of lead that no one has ever had in the modern history of the Iowa Republican caucus. So if you finish second in Iowa and you're 20 points behind, is that really second? or is that just masquerading for dead last?
Right. And finally, quickly, Major, if Iowa is the state in which these candidates have said, we're going to go face-to-face, make the pitch, and it's going to work, if it doesn't work, does that then add an extra kind of verdict on these second-place candidates? In other words, you tried it in the best possible conditions and you didn't come close.
I talked to a lot of Republicans about that very question today, John, and the answer was there is no Trump adjacent, there is no Trump light. You were either Trump or no Trump. And Haley and DeSantis have not been definitively no Trump. They've tried to be Trump adjacent or Trump light, and that space does not exist.
Major Garrett in Washington, a pleasure as always, Major. Thank you.